Anybody in here who's thinking about getting further education, what does that look like?
Well, first of all, I think with educators, I use a statement that goes like this: you cannot discover new oceans unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Think about that. I really mean it. In your own life, what you want to do, get a degree. Why do you want to get a degree? First of all, it builds upon the foundations that you learned in your undergraduate courses. It also gives you a nice salary boost, not only right after the completion of it, but for the years to come. And the fact that you're going to a graduate school, it helps you with the thought process of analyzing and really working together. What our school really focuses on, which a lot of graduate schools do, is collaborative learning teams. And the students themselves actually work in concert with one another. They rip things apart, they analyze it, they look at scenarios, they do all of those kinds of things. And why do you want to go to a graduate course? Is because we want you to get something that's relevant for you. There may be people who want to become curricularists, they want to be reading instructors, and be administrators, whatever. So that's very, very important. And along with that, when you do want to go to a degree like that, please check out your university people. What do I mean by that? Many universities, I'll use me as an example. Let's go back to the year 2000. Loyola University right here in Chicago, EDD, I completed it. It was a wonderful study on technology. It was a whole, everything from our school improvement, what we needed for it, to staff development, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I had all my variables, everything was in place. Guess what? Today, in 2013, that wonderful exemplar study that I did is outdated. Get what I mean? You have to be changing. You have to be, as an educator, constantly changing. So a graduate program is something very, very good for you to do and move forward. And it's another thing when I say check out your professors and what your school is like, very important. People have got to be competent. They've got to be current, real pragmatic instructors. They've got to learn how to engage and not just sit up there and lecture. So be careful where you go to school, and make sure that you have those people in place.
Sure, and that's where you're saying that collaborative
very, very
piece is really key. So one of the things I hadn't heard about until I started talking to your organization is the cohort model you do with districts. How does that work?
Cohort model is almost like an extended family. It's when, first of all, the cohort meets once a week for 4 hours. Sometimes the people in the cohorts don't realize this. With every 4 hours of sitting in a classroom, there's 15 to 20 hours of homework, and that's a very important thing when you make a commitment to this. And when you look at that collaborative model and the teaching, you're doing things together. You really the networking between. And if you want to do it at a district, that's even better. And why do you like that? Because first of all, it's right in your home community. You can contact various schools. They can set up cohorts in your own community. You don't have to travel, and it's good. The good points are, first of all, you'll be kind of like the invisible hand for the kids in that school, because you've got 10, 15, 20 people bringing in this new vision, new voyage that they want to pursue. The administrators look at you and they say, wow, this person is really devoting his or her time to this class, and it may be good for you advancing as far as financially and in the job market.
Sure. So what is your take on what's happened in education, where I like to call the last decade the decade of accountability, where it's a decade of no child left behind.
Right.
What really matters is test scores, test scores, test scores, standardized testing, standardized testing. Here at the Conference of Power of Adults, we'll focus more on leadership and how leadership, character, drives student outcomes, but also help students have a better life. So, in your mind, where are we as a country in terms of how we balance the core subjects like literacy and math with the character and the leadership type stuff that we're doing here? How does that all work together in your head, and how does Olivet think about that? Okay,
Olivet does a lot of it. Groups things together. Many of our courses, first of all, involve the community. We'll take some of our leadership courses. The teacher leadership courses are an extension of the classroom outside of the community. ESL learners, what do we do with them? Bring the parents in, let them hear. We have to show them that we are listening. That's the very important thing. We're constantly asking them, which we heard throughout this whole conference this morning. What do you need, and what can we bring to you? And those calls or concerns become initiatives, So what do we do with the university such as that? We try to bring a great balance of practical experience and go with practical work. In every one of our courses, there is an application of the learning, the theory, and everything else. else that we bring and put it into the practical work. So it's getting real experiences at their level. So it's very, very important. And I'm going to use a little, I guess I brought this up here, it's a very non-technical kind of a thing, but I want you to look at this. It's a stool, and the little stool, right on the top, you can't see it, but it says basic needs. Basic needs are on the top, like the stool we're sitting on, look at that. The different legs are the power, freedom, fun, and belonging. And if you were to cut one of those areas down on that leg, let's take the fun out of it, what happens? The stool becomes tilted, and the basic needs are kind of falling off the top of the stool. This is what we look for in education, to make sure that we're meeting all the basic needs of our students and our teachers that are coming in, the school districts, what we're looking for. And when you have that belonging spirit, when you have that, there's going to be a certainty of respect that you're going to be able to generate, motivate for the school students. I told you with the invisible hand there. The love, respect of the people within your community. People want to know you are listening. People want to know that they can be heard and that you're going to respect them. So we do that everything from our very top down to the bottom. And another thing, you have to kind of sometimes shake up your community, okay? And what I mean by that, there are people that may not be there. Your marketing people, your curriculum people may not be there and working in concert with one another. They're from the old school of thought. I told you about my old doctoral studies and everything. Sometimes things become outdated. They have to be competent but also street smart and know how to bring that into the program.
Sure. Fantastic. And actually, it's funny you said these four things: belonging, power, fun, and freedom. I think we've heard a lot about that today, the importance of belonging. Those kids got up here, the sweet things. You heard about all the stuff about graduation rates. You heard all the stuff about all the ways you were succeeding. What did the kids all say was what they appreciated about boys when they said belonging? We got family. We have someone who cares about us. And then the power, the fun, and the freedom. To me, that just speaks to everything we're talking about with voice, with inspiration, with recognizing that people are ready and waiting for somebody to do something awesome, do them in an empowered way. And really excited to hear that Olivet Nazarene is operating in that direction.
And the bottom line with that, if I can add, you were asking about test scores,
Sure.
those things go up.
Yeah.
If you have all this going in place and people feel that they have a sense of belonging.
Absolutely. I actually think where we're headed as a country